Janet Nepales, GMA7 Philippines. Hi, Sean.
Hey.
Congratulations again on winning the Palme d'Or in Cannes.
Oh, thank you. It's good seeing
What
you.
were your initial thoughts when you heard your name called, and were you expecting that, and how did you celebrate?
Actually, we weren't expecting the Pomodoro. And so in that moment, it was quite honestly mind blowing. I'm still processing it five months later. Especially going up on stage and receiving the Pomodoro from George Lucas. I mean, who is basically responsible for inspiring most of the filmmakers of my generation, including me, to make films. So that was just gravy on this wonderful moment. But and afterwards, how we celebrated? Oh my gosh, it's been, just. Oh, sorry, my dog. It was we had a great party at Cannes, but then afterwards, the celebration continued. We played at Telluride, we played at Toronto, New York Film Festival, San Sebastian, and then last night here in LA at the Vista Theater. Just the audiences who are really excited by it and showing lots of love. So it's been a continuous celebration, quite honestly.
That is great. So, what was your inspiration for this film?
Well, it was my desire to shoot in Coney Island and Brighton Beach, Brooklyn, specifically in the Russian American community, and that goes back a while. So it took me a while to figure out what the plot would be, and I think when I finally figured out that it was going to be about a young woman who realizes that she married the wrong man. It was that as soon as we figured out that plot, there was this set piece that came to mind, and that's the home invasion moment in the middle of the film. This 28-minute real-time home invasion scene, and I think that was the seed. That was what really got us going, because we knew the film was going to be structured in a unique way that would allow for this twist halfway through and really keep the audience on their toes. So it was about figuring out how we were going to get to that place.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you actually wrote the script for Mikey Madison. How did you discover her, and what made you decide that your Annie?
Yeah. Well, I saw Mikey Madison in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and she doesn't really appear that much until the end of the film, and she steals the last 15 minutes of the movie. I just was intrigued by her, and I'm always looking out for fresh talent, being that I cast my own films. So I kept her in the back of my head as somebody who was very interesting and somebody I might want to work with someday. Then we were developing Anora, we were getting into it, and I knew I was going to have to find my Annie, and it just happened to be that I went to Scream opening weekend, and that was it. It was a combination of those two performances. She had intensity. She also had, she played this young, sexy adult with full of attitude, and it was real. And she showed range, and she had a very unique physicality, meaning her face, very unique, her eyes. And so I made the decision there and then in the theater. I turned to my wife and producer Samantha Kwan. I said, "We're calling her agents the second we step out of the theater," and we did. Yeah.
And you mentioned your wife. How is it working with your wife as the producer?
Oh, it's challenging. No, but it's challenging for her, not for me. I mean, I love it. She gives me everything, along with my other wonderful producer, Alex Coco. They never say no. They always figure out a way. But of course, it must be hard for them. I can be manic. I can be crazy. I can be indecisive. But it's a wonderful team that we've put together, and we want to continue working this way.
Mhm. And how did you prepare for this film? Did you go and interview the sex workers in New York City?
Well, there was. Okay, so we brought on our chief consultant, who's Andrea Werhun, who actually lives in Toronto. But she wrote this wonderful memoir called Modern Whore, which Mikey read, I read, and there was so much. It was so insightful. Her memoir covers her days as an escort, but also a dancer, so very much applied to the Annie character. Mikey was able to Zoom with her, pick her brain. She read our script. She gave us pointers. She gave us details. Told us what works and what didn't. And then after that, when we were actually in New York, Mikey, well, along with the rest of us, we spent time in the club and really observing, spending time to really understand the mechanics of it. And then Mikey shadowed dancers. So she could really figure out how this works and what goes into this. And so, yeah, it was just a really incredible experience because there was such warmth and coming from that community, meaning they were very welcoming and very open and very just. This film would not be what it is without the addition of our consultants.
Mm-hmm. And what was the most difficult scene for you to do?
Ooh, I would say it probably was the home invasion, just simply because it is 28 minutes of real time and there are stunts involved. Continuity has to obviously be on point. You're dealing with 8 days, but it takes place in real time, so you had to deal with possible weather changes and other little things. But my cast and crew, they made it happen. We were all on the same page about this, and so we understood the flow. And so every morning there was slight adjustments to the script, but also lots of rehearsals, lots of choreography. My actors were doing their own stunts, so a lot of moving parts. And I'm very happy the way it turned out.
Mm-hmm. And you collaborated a lot with your cast members. They really formed their characters also with you. Can you talk about that?
Oh, it was just that I think everybody had time to really think about their characters and understand their characters. And we had lots of discussion about possible backstories and even epilogues, but stuff that would never be shown to the audience, but stuff that we understood and my actors understood. And I think that was very important because I do encourage improvisation, and they have to really understand their characters and the way their characters talk and think in order to improvise correctly. So, yeah, I think that's what it was. It was preparation, and then when we were in production, allowing them to shine, bring ideas to the table, and me being very open to all ideas. It was really a wonderful experience with them.
And you mentioned in an earlier interview that you wanted power and strength to be highlighted in this film. Can you talk more about that?
Oh, did I say that? Oh, with her character, with Annie?
Yes, yeah, with Mikey.
Yeah, with the Annie character, I never wanted her to be passive, especially in this situation that we find her in. I wanted somebody who could hold her own, who would fight back, who, was... I always call her a scrapper, somebody who doesn't shy away from a fight if she's forced into one. Somebody with New York attitude, somebody who's street smart, somebody who's obviously had to be independent for a while. And I think that's how I saw Annie. And Mikey understood that, and Mikey brought all of that to the table.
And what else do you hope for audiences to get after watching the movie?
Well, there are lots of themes that we're trying to tackle, and a lot of things in the film, especially the ending, have been designed to be left up for interpretation. And so my hope is that I'm not going to give my take on a lot of the characters' actions, intents, and motivations. Instead, I think that it would be really nice if this film sparks discussion, brings people together to talk about the themes in the film. I mean, last night we left the Vista where we had our LA premiere, and I saw people on the sidewalk outside, talking afterwards, and they were talking about the ending, and it was really nice to see that it was actually they were inspired to give their thoughts on it to their friends and discuss what was going on in that, and that was that means everything to me as a filmmaker.
Congratulations, John. More power to you.
Thank you so much. Great seeing you again.
Nice seeing you.
Okay, bye-bye.